Well, welcome to Georgia. Mrs. Matson and I are up here testing equipment. We brought a Proline 4-inch up here and a Keen 4-inch that we're going to put up on eBay for sale. And we dug this big hole and we started getting float gold. And so we thought on our next trip up, we'd bring our 3-inch, which we're going to keep. I've had this little dredge now for 14 years, and it just soldiers on. You know, it's just great for working a creek. It moves a ton of stuff, and in a little light package, it doesn't plug up. Anyway, enough on that. We bought one of these little California hand sluices, hand trommels, that we're setting up for gemstones for trip out west. And this is an excellent place. We're on a GPAA claim called the farm that we come up to test our equipment before we go out on a trip. And in this hole here, we noticed we were getting some float gold, and we're going to walk upstream, you and I, and we'll try to peek around the corner here without me going in a hole, dredge hole, because there's dredge holes through here, and show you where the gold's coming from. Now I've got some gold that I'll show you in a moment here. If you can get down to bedrock here, these little creeks move enough material that they'll do what you wouldn't think is possible. They'll bore holes in granite, and the little 3-inch is just the right nozzle size if you keep the straight nozzle on, where you can snake them down into those holes. And every few trips you'll, or at least I have, you watch the movies and pick your spots right, you'll go down and see that schist going sideways there. You'll be able to bore down through that and see the clay layer. You'll be able to bore down deep with that and get in a pocket. And I've sucked out, you know, as much as a ½ ounce at a crack, and just in one of those little pockets. Now, we've had a flood up here, and it's scoring off this bedrock, ancient schist that's been blasted in here on this one side. We're going to go try to figure out why on this property does you know, is the hard pack usually just in this one side. Okay, now pull up these coordinates on your just plug them into the internet, and you'll get a topo map. Pull up your topo map and plug in 33, 45, 47.62, 85, 13, 35, 09. That'll get you in the general area, and then I want you to look for this picture as good as you can. I'm going to turn this map around. Now, my best educated guess of how the gravels came to be in this side were that in ancient times this ridge line and this ridge line were connected. They were one piece. There was probably a waterfall here right near where the bridge is that goes across the creek. And as it wore down, you can see that this ridge line is retracted from this. It probably shot probably a river at that time into this bank. And that's why we've got hard pack on this side. Now, you know, again, I wasn't here, but that would be a pretty good guess. And as the water came through here, and through here, and through here, and then started building this farmland on down. This creek eventually ends up at the Tallapoosa River, which is very rich. It's upstream, the GPAA had claims, and that's where I joined the GPAA to mine that property up there, because I knew it was good, and it is very rich with gold. There was an active gold mine there in the 1840s. These properties have been continually mined for 150 years now, and there's enough gold here to keep you interested. Probably not enough to, you know, sell the house and move down here, but there's enough gold here certainly to test equipment and show you some color, and sometimes you really make a strike, especially upstream. GPAA lost those claims for some reason, but they still have the farm, and if there's any trouble with the farm, it is that there's a lot of material to go through to get down to bedrock, to get down to the hard bedrock. Now this is ancient in here, and it's decaying. Now you don't have to go to Alaska to get gold. You can find this kind of gold right here in Georgia, and it's 99.86% pure. It's the purest in the states. Now we're simply testing a piece of equipment out. We're running a water hose from the water pump over to the trommel. Now when we get out in the desert, we're going to convert that to a 1,200 gallon per minute per hour electric pump, and put some plastic tubs under it, catch the water, and that's the way we'll mine our gemstones up out in the desert. Okay, now undoubtedly this is a good spot, and somebody's been dredging right below it. They've made a big hole here, and here's their tailings pile. Now suppose you don't have the money for a dredge or anything like that, any heavy equipment. Here's what you can do. If you skim off the very top of this tailings pile, this is the last place they worked, so it was the deepest part of this hole. And Mrs. Matson's going to take a couple shovels back, and we're going to show you how much black sand, which is an indicator material, is going to be on the top of the pile, and gold. Gold blows through these dredges. I don't care what the manufacturers say. They can't get that little fine gold, but you can. Just working a sluice box and the tops of the pile. You don't want to take the whole thing off, just the top, just where they were working the deepest. And that's the last deep stuff from the bottom of that hole. And they'll show you this black sand. I think you'll be surprised. If you order one of these trommels for gold, I'd recommend you go with a 1/4 inch holes. We've got the 1/2 inch because we're going after gemstones, sapphires in particular. And Mrs. Matt's going to dump a load in here. Most of it will just wash off just as if it was a high banker without even turning the trommel. And if you have the 1/4 inch holes, it will slough off these little fine rocks a lot better, because they're just a little too big for the sluice we have today. Alright, you see all that black sand in here? Behind every ripple. And that's your indicator for gold. And there's going to be fine gold in that sluice. And whether you've got a trommel or not, or just a screen, you know, to fit your budget, you can work off some gold that way without a whole lot of expense, or a gold pan, if that's what you want to do. And we'll walk around to the front end of the sluice. Alright, and there's your black sand right there, filtering out. So, it's a good way to do it on a budget.